Hi, and welcome to Lumi Stitch. My name is Jessica, and this channel is about cross stitch. In today's episode, I'm going to show you 7 projects that I worked on. 5 of them is counted cross stitch, and 2 of them is stem cross stitch. I do a little bit of that. Those are high quality kits. It's none of the cheap stuff. So if you don't want to see that, you can just skip that. But let's get started. Here's the first finish. The finish I'm gonna put right here. This is what I got from a retreat. This was a saved finish from a freebie table, and I thought how good it would be to make a small pillow. And this is what I came up with. These were the little chickens. I think there's 2 chickens and a rooster. So this is how I finished it. And I do not have a hole here. It's just ironed. I hide the hole up here with a bow. You guys, that's another great idea. If your stitches are not too straight, but mines are very clean and nice because I do invisible stitch. If you Google invisible stitch, then it would. I also have a tutorial on that, how to do invisible stitch. So this come out a lot nicer if you are not good at you know, doing those stitches. But the way I did this is just you take this top, you sew this on, and you take this bottom piece and you sew that on. So you end up with like a long um, piece of cloth like this. Then you fold it over and you just do the regular stitching, like here, leave a little hole here, there, and then just usual. Turn it out, stuff it, close the hole. And I think the bow or anything like for Christmas, some people like to put like different foliage on the top. And if there is this little hole, you can just close it up so good. You also don't have to do it like this. You could just do one piece and just leave a little hole on the top. So, and I just added this prior to closing the pillow. So once I did the whole fabric piece, I sew on this little thing right on the top and just did the rest of it, fold it in and sew the pillow. See, this is so nice. I'm gonna display it over there. I know this is not turkey, but I thought the chickens are in a turkey family, so there would be cute sitting on that shelf. We don't eat turkey around here anyways, so I prefer other types of meat besides turkey. I'm not into white chicken meat, but I think they do look so cute. All right, let's move on to the first whip. Stacy Nash, pink hip. It's called As the Crow Flies. So let's go over the statistic. I'm stitching this in markup RXP. And let me pull this up for you so we can go over the statistics. I'm gonna have a picture on the screen, what it looks like. So the total chart is only 5,153 stitches, and I stitched 2,371 stitches. So I'm a little bit over 46%. And I'm stitching this on 40 count. This is a 40 count linen that I bought on 123 stitch. It is a vintage country mocha, and I'm using all the codes for Wixdie Works. And last time I showed you, I did not have a house nor the crow. I just had the middle part done. But let's take a look. So I'm stitching with 1 strand over 2, and I love how the 1 strand lays. It is such a pleasure to stitch. I think Wixdie works are perfect. I have not tried silks on 40 count, but so far I love Weeks Dye Works on this 40 count because the DMC it's a little bit thicker and it's perfect for 36 count. I don't really enjoy stitching Weeks Dye Works on 36 count. It's okay, but it's kind of hard because 36 count has bigger spaces and the strand of Weeks Dye Works is thinner than DMC. So it's kind of sometimes slides over and it looks like you didn't stitch anything when you did, but DMC is perfect on 36 count. And I'm talking about 36 count that's already been hand dyed, still having hard time stitching with Weeks Dye Works. I much prefer 40 count and Weeks Dye Works together. I think it's like a perfect match. I love the color of this color right here. I think it's called cognac. And it's perfect. It looks like those vintage brick houses without any bricks in there. Like the whole variegation is very subtle and beautiful. All right, let's move on to the next whip. Next whip, I'm stitching this right here, Peace and Goodwill by Brenda Gervais. I did not have no electronic chart, you guys, so I had to work with what I had. And we're stitching, this is a stitching long. There is a few of us that are stitching it. I know the 502 stitcher, she has a YouTube channel. She announced that on her channel and I joined that and I was glad to join it because I already wanted to stitch that for a while. So I know it came out last year, but when it came out, I saw that and I immediately thought that would be so beautiful. So I did, this chart calls for Weeks Dye Works and also for some classic color works. I did buy all the code for Weeks Dye Works and the classic color works. I did went ahead and dye my own floss. It's I already stitched with them, so they're not like perfectly smooth looking, and they just have a slight variegation. I think this one right here, it's kind of reminds me of Cherry Cobbler by Classic Color Works. This is my own spin on it. All right. So I'm probably about halfway done with the chart, or maybe close to halfway. So this is, I'm stitching this on 36 count linen that I over dyed. The original was calling for the taupe color and the 1 to 3 stitch didn't even have it. So I over dyed it and it kind of looks like taupe, but a lot darker. So the house is in Weeks Dye Works, but I swapped it. I swapped it. I think it's for either oilcloth or dirt road instead of what it's called for because it was not showing up on this linen. Also, this right here, this is my own over dye. I changed his scarf to pink. The original one is blue and the door is also my own over dyed. The white is the light khaki by Weeks Dye Works, and the rest of them are. But this right here is also my own over dye. I'm just gonna get this a little closer. Okay. Okay. This is how it looks. I love the mottling on the linen, but I will tell you, it's a lot harder to stitch on the 36 count that is dark for me than a 40 count. The 40 count, the country vintage mocha that I showed you as the crow flies, much easier to stitch than this one, you guys. The next project is Peace and Urge by Cottage Garden Samplings. I'm keeping this in this bag. I used the Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch tutorial. And this is quilted in very thick bag. I love it. All right. So for this one, I did over dye the linen for it. I'm stitching it on 28 count linen and I over dyed it with tea. Let's go over the statistics real quick. I'm just gonna show you the mock preview on this. I'm stitching this in Saga app, and this is the mock-up preview, and of course it looks a lot better. I think they have um, different floss for it. I'm using the cold for there is a fancy floss and there is a DMC, so I'm using the DMC floss for it. And let's just go quickly over the statistics. So right now I am at 30.62%, and it's 1,842 stitches. I did stitch when I was at the retreat on Wish Up on a Stitch in Disneyland, Anaheim, California, and I stitched at 229 stitches. All right, let me show you. So I think I added this whole, no, maybe the foliage was already there. I might find the picture. So I know I worked in the house. Yeah, I think that's it. I remember. I was just filling in. So I did a lot of bricks, and then I was just working on the fill in. So mostly it was just the fill in because I was talking a lot at the retreat. I was hardly putting 300 stitches a day when I was there. Of course, I was there to stitch, but not hyper focus. So I was just leisurely stitching, and talking because I wanted to talk to people. I like talking. And I went from table to table talking to people. So that's why. But I don't mind. It's okay. There is no rush. I have lots of projects and I enjoy every single one of them. So it will get done eventually. Plus, it's not very big project. And I'll show you the floss. This is the floss. It's all DMC. There is no fancy floss. All right, let's move on to the next one. The next one I'm keeping in this bag. This is available, similar ones available in my Etsy shop, and it's on my description box. The Etsy link is, and this is Jeanette Douglas called Antique Animals. I did overdye the floss for it, and I do have a tutorial in one of my playlists, how to overdye fancy floss. It's very easy. All you need is a reed dye and some hot water and some DMC, or painting fairy floss, which is basically the same. They do computer matching, and I'm also gonna leave a link below for that. Painting fairy, exactly like DMC, but for only a fraction of a cost. They're only 30 cents, you guys. So some of this were DMC, some of them were painting fairy. Look at those beautiful over dye. They're very subtle. There's no dramatic changes, but beautiful. All right, so I'm stitching this on a 28 count linen that I dyed with some tea. Let me open that. All of my whips are wrinkled because they're hand dyed, and I don't want to subject it to extra heat. All right, so this is where we at. I know I added this part. I added the animal. There was a mistake somewhere in here. I was one stitch off, so I'm gonna come down, go around, and come back. That way, I'm gonna make it work because I don't want to frog anything. I already frogged it right here, and I still could not make it. I still couldn't fix it. So we'll just leave it like that, unintentional modification. Let's go over Cross Stitch Saga app. This is the preview of the Antique Animals by Jeanette Douglas. It's not True Colors because it's Cross Stitch Saga app, and it does not translate them perfectly what the real life is. I apologize. I think my dog is squeaking the toy in the other room. All right. And let's go over the statistics. I probably, oh, okay. So I stitched this on a retreat. That was the second day of the retreat, and I put 230 stitches, but I'm already sitting at 33.95%. All right, let's move on to my last counted weave, and it's dimension stocking, and it's a gold collection. Let me show you the preview. Okay, so this is the bag. This is the applique I did. I made that bag a while ago. I also put little charms here. Okay, let me pull it out. Okay, this is what it looks like. And last time I showed you, I worked on this top row, and there was it was not fully finished. So this is the colors that Dimension has. This is all the floss. They have this organizers like that, and this is 16 count dove gray. This is some frogging floss. Dove gray Ada, and it was nice. It's not too stiff, so I just used that. So I basically completed this red part. There was a empty space in there, and I just covered that up. Probably a little boring, but it was perfect for the retreat because I wanted that mindless stitching so I would not make a mistake. All right, let's go over the statistics. So I'm stitching this in cross stitch saga, like I said, and I actually put in more than 300 stitches. I put 308 stitches on Saturday. That was the last day of the retreat. That was November 8th. And currently I'm already at 12.81%. That's actually almost 13%, which is good. And I have 3,257 stitches on this whip. Next, this is a spring brand, and it has a beautiful Egyptian cotton floss. This is geraniums, not geraniums. I forgot the name of this flower. I might put it up on the screen. All right, so I'm gonna show you the back first because I did work a lot, you guys. Maybe 5 days on this whip, just this whip. I couldn't put it down, and I did a lot of stitching and a lot of offloading the thread. So this is how much I already have stitched. Let me show you the front. I'm showing the back first so you can have an idea because it's harder to see. Let's see which way. Okay, this is this way, and I started stitching this in this corner right here, where is the leaf and some like bubbles and stuff. So you can see this big leaf right here, and another big leaf. And mostly I'm sitting in the background, like a lot of full coverage pieces will have you sit in the background if you started from a corner. But I do love this deep blue color, like indigo color. All this is stitched, and there was a lot of blends, and the frame that I was using is just those cheaper version of the scroll frame. It wasn't not, the tension wasn't good, so I had hard time stitching the blends. I did order one from Painting Fairy, yeah, the one that's like $139, but I did get some discount on it, so I just grabbed it because I did not want to be like suffering. This is like suffering when the tension is bad. You're just suffering. It's not pleasant to stitch. So next time I hope I can stitch this a lot more smoothly. Yeah, I do love this whip, and it is doable because it's not too big. This is 14 count. I started it on July 22nd. The whip is And in terms of stitches, is 121,800 stitches, and this is 14 count. The only thing I don't like about this, because there is different symbols, but the symbols are there, like you don't have to hunt for it. But what I do like is that the symbols here is what you see on a canvas, but the only problem is when you do clip it, you know, put it on a scroll frame, the edges are not that big. And like I know WTNT, Jeni always, I'm gonna put her Flosstube, call it Jeni Flosstube. She always says that WTNT, you know, she loves it, and they do have this huge like margins, and that would be so helpful, because look at this margin, you just have just enough to put it, and if you're stitching here, it's really close to the actual frame, and it's hard to stitch. Yeah, they need to improve this, larger edges, at least 1 more inch. That would be nice. All right, the next one is a painting fairy, and as this one, it's blueberry cake. I have not stitched this for a while. This is the beautiful floss that's inside, and I have it on a scroll frame, but it's not too big, so I'm just gonna zoom in on it and show you up close. So this is the cake. You can see comparing to my hand. It's not too big. I mean, it's big, but it's small comparing to those full coverage, and I mostly worked in this. And look how realistic this looks. It looks so nice and yummy. This is a 14 count. This is a painting fairy, and painting fairy margins a lot larger than spring brand. I think at least might be by 1 inch. Like I said, they're larger by 1 inch. mushrooms that I harvested, that I foraged, they actually surprisingly turn out very, very good. There is no bitter taste in them or anything. I soaked them for 3 days and boiled for 20 minutes, and now I'm frying them. These are all done. Can't wait to try it. Alright, that's all for today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and click the bell for notifications so you don't miss any uploads. Thank you for watching. Bye!